Hi everyone, and welcome to And So On Knitting Edition. My name is Lisa, and today I'm going to tell you all about Barcelona Knits, the things that I got, the things that I made, and the things I'm going to make. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new here, thank you so much for popping by. My name is Lisa, and I am a Torontonian who is transplanted to Spain. So I'm just outside of Barcelona, Spain with my family. You can find me on Instagram as Lisa Kish, and I will list that below. And yeah, if you are already subscribed, you are already here. Thank you so much for coming back again. If you have not yet subscribed, hit the little subscribe button. And either way, if you subscribed or not, please hit the little notification bell, because I've had a few people tell me they haven't seen my last few videos because they haven't been notified. So hit that little bell to make sure that you see everything. So I have so much to share with you guys. I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to start with finished objects. Then I'm going to move into Barcelona Knits, which will kind of lead me into other things. At least I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, first finished object. This is my Le Pouf cardi. So if you saw last time, you'll know that I was kind of struggling with the idea of all of these colors. This is a little bit crazy for me, although when you see what I bought, maybe things are changing. Maybe Spain is making me a more colorful person. So this is my Le Pouf cardi, and I'm not wearing it because it is quite warm today and I would be very sweaty. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's a beautiful pattern. Don't worry, I don't normally hang it on a hanger. It's quite heavy because it's fingering weight doubled. So this pattern, if you're not familiar, is by Beata Jezek, and she did this for Hedgehog Fibres, which I think is her company, I don't know. And I did it in several different yarns. So the main yarns that you see, all of this and all of these grays and such, are Jolie Asselin Fino, and there are 4 different colorways. So there's birch, there's pixelated, there's carava, and there is midnight oil. As well, I worked in some other colors. So I decided to use this as an opportunity to use up some yarn that I already had and to just play with color and not worry about, I don't know, not worry about messing it up, because I was so coveting this Jolie Asselin Fino that I bought that I was worried about like messing it up. And in the end, I just decided to take it as an exercise in play, and I think it was really successful. So I'm really pleased. So this here is knit crate yarn, and it's actually a DK, so it's a slightly different weight. This is fingering held double. This is DK, but it worked fine. And I decided to go, oops, I've still got a couple ends. There's a lot of ends on this, as you can imagine. I decided to go with the really intense color for the sleeves, and I'm really happy I did. I just think it gives it that special something. This blue here and this blue here, all of these, is Sweet Georgia Tough Love sock yarn. I don't remember the colorway. I bought it last year for a pair of socks, so this is like the ends. There's a little bit of Viola yarns in here. I think there's even a little bit, yes, in the hem here, there's a little bit of Leo and Roxy, because I was worried about running out. So a couple changes that I made. I'm gonna hold it over here. It's actually quite a heavy sweater. Okay, a couple changes that I made. I added length, because I have quite a long body and I find that crop stuff doesn't really, I don't know, I just didn't want it quite so cropped as it is in the picture. And I found, actually I'll put some pictures of me wearing it. Here, I don't remember. Pictures of me wearing it. I found that it was a little bit cropped in the pictures, and I like things to hit sort of right at my waist, right at my jeans belt, pretty much. So I added about an inch to the body. I also added some short rows back here, and I actually added them in here. Maybe I should have added them in this part, but I didn't think of it until I got there. So you can see that this sort of, maybe I will put it on for a sec. Hopefully you can kind of see that the neckline at the back raises up just a little bit. It's a little bit longer. I was even thinking of trying to go full shawl collar, but then I thought I wasn't sure that I would have enough yarn. So because I didn't do the pattern exactly with the fade. So the fade in the actual pattern is you start off with 2 strands of one color, then you drop 1 strand and pick up a strand of your second color, then you drop that first strand again, and then you pick up the second strand of your second color, and then so on and so forth. And you do it in 4 different colors. But what I found was that when I got sort of to here, I realized that I didn't necessarily want the whole bottom of it to be so dark. And so I started to play on my own. So if you follow the pattern instructions exactly, you won't necessarily get my exact fade. However, I am pretty pleased. I'll take it off again. So I am pretty pleased with how I matched the sleeves to the body. Overall, I think it went pretty well. The first sleeve, I was really just winging a prayer, counting, trying to match it up. And then the second one, I had taken notes and went, okay, do 9 rows of this, 10 rows of that, etc., what have you. I even pulled in some purple from the Ambient sweater that you'll see later. It shows up quite purple here because the colors are brighter on the screen, but I would say when you look at it, it more just looks like a gray purple. It doesn't really jump out. And then I, like I said, brought the teal back in. My daughter was not impressed because she was using that yarn to crochet herself some socks, and she feels that she doesn't have enough to finish them. But I gave her new yarn, so it's fine. And ultimately, I really wanted to experiment with color and play a little more with color. So did I make any other changes? I made it longer. I changed the fade, and I did the short rows. I think those are the only changes I made. Anyway, heavy, and also I think I'm gonna get like a scarf. What do you call those things? A shawl pin to make it so that I can hold it closed, because I do kind of feel a little bit like it's falling off my shoulders, and I'm not quite sure how I would have changed that when I started off, but I do find that it kind of rides a little bit further back on the shoulders, and I would love it a little bit more forward. I also feel like I can wrap it, which is great. Like, I love the idea of being able to wrap the sweater, and I think having a little pin for that would work. But ultimately, very happy with this, and I wore it to Barcelona Knits both days I was there. Yeah, I think I wore it both days I was there, and it was really fun to chat about it and talk. So finished object number 2 is this hat. So I had leftovers of pretty much all the colors of the Jolie Fino, and Jolie Fino is a mixture of merino, cashmere, and silk, so it's a really luxurious yarn, and so I wanted to do something nice with the rest of it. And I also had some leftover Shibui silk cloud from last year in one of their gray colors. I don't recall what it was called. So I was looking for a hat pattern, and I happened on this one. This is the Oslo hat Mohair edition from Petite Knit, and I'll put it on and then I'll tell you a bit about it. Okay, so here it is. So most of the ones that I saw were all in one color, but I was trying to use up all of this yarn that I had left over. And one thing I did is, because I was worried about running out of yarn, which in the end I didn't, but I was worried about it, so I made the body of the hat about 5 centimeters shorter. So it's supposed to be a little poofier and a little bit, truth be told, I don't like my hats like that. I like my hat to fit, like really fit on my head. So I'm quite pleased with the fit of it. And let me show you a little bit. So first of all, I used 2 colors of mohair because I ran out of the first silk mohair. The way this hat goes is it has a huge brim. Like, the brim alone, I think, is something like 18 or 20 centimeters, maybe even more. So you started here, I started in the black, you knit all the way here, and then you knit all the way there, and this all folds up and becomes the brim. So much of the hat was just the brim. It's incredible, because it's like 1, 2, it's almost like 3, because once you fold it back up again, it's like 3 layers around your ears, which is great, because that's the part of me that tends to get cold. But in terms of the knitting, I was like, oh my gosh, like, so much, I've used so much mohair. So I started with the mohair thinking I'd have enough, and then I realized I wouldn't have enough. So I switched to some of the mohair from my Ambient sweater. That's a work in progress that I'll show you. So that is, where is it? The Nurturing Fibres Kid Silk. And let's see if I have this here to show you, which is this here. As you can see, I still have quite a lot left, and I only have 2 cuffs to do every other row, so I'm not worried that I'm going to run out. As a matter of fact, I'm sure I'll have a little bit of this left over. So I decided to add that in here. Then I went back to using the kid silk, or using the Shibui silk cloud, hoping that I would have enough to finish it, and I totally did not. So And so on the top, I went back to the Nurturing Fibres in Sangria. So I'm left with this hat with all these colors, and I'm not mad about it. I am not mad about it. I like it a lot. Like I said, I did it a little bit shorter. I would absolutely make this hat again. I actually maybe even would make it just in a straight DK. So what you do is you sew, this is done like there's a reverse stockinette section and then a stockinette section. I think that's written in the description. I don't think I'm giving anything away, but you're sewing it to that reverse stockinette section so that, you know, the brim is kind of set and settled. And I guess I could fold it just like that to give myself a little more slouchy room at the top. Yeah, I don't know. You have the flexibility. I like to fold it up higher and get even a more solid brim. And the other thing is I haven't blocked it yet, and I don't think I'm going to. The only reason I would is because I find the bump between the stockinette section and the reverse stockinette section pretty prominent, and that keeps the brim from lying really flat. Do you know what I mean? Like I want it to lie super, super flat so that it doesn't kind of bubble up like this and go all 80s on me. You know what I mean? Like I want it to lie really flat. So that's the other reason why I fold it up even more, because I feel like that I can really get a nice flat section. So I might just steam this bottom portion, but I don't want it any bigger, right? And I know that if I block it, it's likely to get bigger. So anyway, so this Oslo hat, Mohair edition, Petite knit. And my last finished object is a gift that I finished in the last couple days, and I don't think she'll mind if I try it on for you. The Cold Spring Cowl by Maya Gooding. This is also a free pattern, and this is one of my acquisitions from Barcelona Knits. It's my friend's birthday, and I wanted to get her. So what I did was I picked a beautiful skein of yarn that I thought would be lovely on her, and I wanted to make something. So it's got this little cutout here so that it will lie flat underneath your jacket. Do you know what I mean? Which I really like. And you can either wear it kind of up around your neck, or you can fold it down more like a turtleneck style. Anyway, very quick, one skein of DK weight, beginning to end. I did it in, I don't know, 2 nights or something like that. Really easy. And I find like it really highlights the yarn, which is nice. Okay, before talking to you about Barcelona Knits, I'm going to show you my one work in progress left, because I finished the hat and the cowl, which were going to be my works in progress. And this is in my own little bag that I made, and I'll link the video where I talked about that. I think I'm going to make another one pretty soon. And what I have in here is my Ambient sweater by Aimée. And since I last saw you, I've done a lot of progress on it. So I've finished the body. Body is all done. I've tried it on, it does fit. So you can see this beautiful stitch pattern that brings in that mohair. The main body is done in Malabrigo in the color Plomo. And you can see that that same stitch pattern comes back near the bottom. Now you're supposed to do 3 repeats of this, and I only did 2 or 1 because it was kind of getting on my nerves, and I just decided I didn't really want to. So I just did it more as a little highlight before doing the ribbing at the bottom. And I have picked up for sleeve number 1, and I've done 2 decreases. So I'm getting there. This little, you can see this little progress keeper here is from my friend Cecilia, who is Mama Do It Yourself on Instagram and YouTube. And I have a little gift coming for you guys from her later. From her later. But she gave me a little gift on the first night of Barcelona Knits, and it includes this little stitch marker that she made herself. Okay, so Barcelona Knits, this is the program that we got at Barcelona Knits, and it was super, super fun. I had a really great time, mostly because of the people. So I made contact with a few sewists, or knitters, I guess, knitters and sewists, previous to the festival, and I went into town and I met up with them. So I met up with Shamika of Mika Makes, I think is her, I'll list her thing below. I had seen her on Christy Glass and she said she was coming to Barcelona Knits. And so I just messaged her. I'm like, hey, if you want someone else English speaking to hang out with. And we started chatting on Instagram, and she's lovely. We became fast friends. And so on the Friday, she said, I'm going to go, no, was it the Friday? No, it was the Thursday. On the Thursday, she was coming in, and I didn't have anything better to do. I wasn't busy that afternoon, and I said, why don't I come pick you up at the airport? I'll pick you up at the airport. I'll take you to your place. You know, we can meet and get in touch and, you know, get to know each other a little bit. So I picked her up at the airport, and also she was with her friend Liz, who is TreLiz, the dyer from Greece. And so I got to chat with her, get to know her. We went back to their Airbnb where I met Aimée, who is Mathema Knitter, and I'll put her Instagram below as well. She has a gorgeous dress design coming out that's absolutely amazing. And then the Friday night, there was a, this is hilarious. So there was a podcaster meetup. Like, people were going to meet Spanish podcasters at a shop in Barcelona called Miss Kits, which is a beautiful yarn store. And I had been chatting online with Cecilia from Mama Do It Yourself. And Cecilia, it lives just 10 minutes from me, one town over. So it was kind of cool. So we took the train down to Miss Kits together, and I thought it'll be fun because I've been watching some of the Spanish podcasters just to practice Spanish, and also, you know, I like to watch Spanish podcasts. Oh, I've got mohair in my eye. So we met up at the train station, and we took the train to Barcelona to go to the meetup. So we walk in the door, and she's like, come, and I was following her back into the room, and then all of a sudden I realized, like, that's the room where all of the Spanish podcasters were hanging out before it officially started, and they were going to meet everyone else who had come down to meet them. So I was like, oh, no, like, no, I shouldn't go, like, I'm not a Spanish podcaster. And she's like, no. And so I come in, and she's like introducing me, and some of the podcasters are like, hi, like, not in a bad way, but just clearly. And so I was trying to introduce myself, and I'm like, hola, soy Lisa, soy un podcaster canadiense de Toronto y vivo en Sitges. I was trying to, and they're like, oh yeah. And some of them a few people I had chatted with before. So Paula from Tres Pompones, Belen from Tejer en Inglés, I had left her a message on her, one of her videos, and I think there was one other girl as well. And so they were really very sweet, but it definitely pointed out to me the holes in my Spanish. Like, when I was first starting to chat, it was okay, but like the more people were in the room, the louder it got, and then I was totally lost. And I was like at the school dance when you're kind of back against the wall in the gym having punch and just kind of looking around, and I was like, you know, eating chips, and yeah, it got a little awkward, but that's okay. That's all right. That you have to put yourself out there, right? Anyway, then I went over to La Lana Lu, which is another very cool yarn store in Barcelona. Walked over there, and I ran into my friend Shamika and her other friends, and then I also ran into Grace, who is Babbling Yarns, and I'll put hers below, and she's super sweet, and she was here from Ireland, and chatted with her for a little bit, and then we all went back to Miss Kits. So long story long, I ended up going out afterwards with Cecilia and probably about another dozen Spanish people, and which was great, and it was really good to practice, but I definitely felt like, eek, and a lot of them did speak English as well, so it was very fun. You know, like, one thing when you live in another country is it's very easy to kind of get yourself in an expat bubble where you find the people who speak your language and you just kind of hang out with those people because it's more comfortable, it's easier, right? And I really made a conscious decision when I moved here that I want to meet actual Spanish people, and I want to work to learn the language and the culture, and I don't just want to stay in an expat bubble. But that's going to be a process, right? And so this was kind of good for that process. Okay, so Saturday, I decided not to go down to Barcelona Knits. I had heard that the Saturday last year was crazy, and part of it actually too was I didn't want to be too tempted because I knew that there were going to be so many beautiful yarns, and I didn't want to spend a ton of money. So I thought, well, if I go on the Sunday, there'll be less to choose from and I'll be less tempted, which actually worked. So Sunday morning, I went down. I was actually going to take the train, and then, well, you know what? I have a video. I'm going to put the video in now.
Hey guys, I am on my way to Barcelona Knits, and I thought I would take you along with me. So today is the second day of the festival, and I decided not to go yesterday. It's my first festival. I decided to ease myself in easy, but I'm really, really excited. So I'm about to walk to my car, and I will take you with me. Okay, so I was gonna take the train today, but it turns out the train is like an hour and a half to get to there because you have to change a couple times, and to drive is 30 minutes. So even though I'm gonna pay for parking, I would have had to pay for the train anyway, and 2 hours of my time in total is worth maybe 5 or 10 euros. I am wearing my Getting Warmer cowl from Espace Tricot and my Le Pouf cardi from Hedgehog Fibres. I will show them closer to you later, but here I go. I gotta go because I heard yesterday there was a huge lineup, and I'm really, really hoping that Sunday will be better. Not too bad of a line.
Se agotó ayer, sí. ¿Qué es la Project? Era una un poco más pequeñita, pero se agotó.
Hola. So I made it in the very first chunk of people, which was great. I was all by myself. And I thought, well, rather than like stop at the first few booths where everyone was kind of going, I'm going to go over a couple booths and see what I see. And what do I see but the La Bien-Aimée booth? And so that was awesome because before anybody else had been kind of, rushing it, I was able to go over there. I met Aimée and Anne, who were working at the booth. I got to see all the beautiful yarns, chat with Aimée a little bit, and I took a little video as well. Good morning! I decided to come on Sunday instead because I thought, guys, I'm so excited to be here at the La Bien-Aimée booth. It was one of my favorites that I was like dying to see, and clearly it's gorgeous. Can you tell me, you're telling me about that scarf. I'd love to hear more about it.
So this is the Herbivore shawl by Stephen West, and I used one skein of our Cashmerino,
which is this here,
fingering
right?
weight. Yeah. Such a fun knit, and look at the size of this. This perfect little thing to throw on around your neck.
Love it. Love it. I'm so glad you came to Barcelona.
Glad to be here.
So that skein of yarn that I was holding in that video, I thought all of a sudden I went, you know what? This is beautiful and original and not what I would normally get, so I'm going to get that. So that was actually my first purchase, and I'll put in a picture of it skeined up here. And Aimée was really sweet because I said, oh, do you have anything to put it in? And I just meant like tissue paper or whatever, but she gave me one of the bags, which was very nice for a single skein purchase to get one of the beautiful La Bien-Aimée bags. Is it bad that this is probably my favorite thing that I got? Probably. And then here is the skein all wound up. So it's actually more creamy. Hang on a second. There we go. It's actually more creamy than I expected. And in terms of what I'm going to do with this, I have bought the same pattern that Aimée was wearing in that video. It's the Herbivore or Herbivore, depending on where you're from, by Stephen West. And I've done one Stephen West shawl before, the, what's it called? I can't think what it's called, but one of his free ones. So this is the first one that I purchased, so I'm gonna give it a try. I tried to cast it on last night and it wasn't successful, so let's hope it's better today. But this is such a beautiful yarn. But it does bring me to the point that the last time we talked, I was like, okay, I'm going with a plan. I don't just want to buy single skeins. I want to like choose some projects and buy. I didn't like entirely fail, but I also was not entirely successful. What do I mean by that? I ended up with a fair amount of single skeins, mostly because I didn't find anything that I desperately wanted a sweater quantity of enough to invest what it costs for a sweater quantity of hand-dyed yarn. And that's just the honest truth, right? There wasn't a lot of DK. I would have maybe done a DK. Anyway, I did get one small sweater quantity that I'm going to show you. But other than that, I did end up with a few single skeins. But I have ideas for things, so it's not just going to be single skein projects. So I do have this single skein project. This will be probably the Herbivore shawl if I can figure out how to get it started. Next, I went to the Rosa Pomar booth, and this is the Mondim. So there's a Mondim that's dyed by La Bien-Aimée as well. This is from their actual booth. This is Portuguese yarn, and this actually was cheaper than on their website. This was €7 or €7.50, and everywhere I found it online, it's either $9 or $9.50. So maybe a show special or something like that. But someone had been knitting with this socks the night before at the podcaster dinner thing that I went to. And I was like, oh, okay, let me grab that. And it's you know, Mondim is a little bit trendy right now. Not that that matters, but it was more just that I recognized it and knew what it was. So definitely a pair of socks for this, which is why I'm eyeing the sock needles. Then I went to the Stephen and Penelope booth, which is a booth for the store in Amsterdam that is partially owned, I'm guessing, by Stephen West. And I had hit their booth early, so I kind of like circled all the booths. I probably went around there like 4 or 5 times, by myself. And honestly, I know that this is a very small festival compared to something like a Rhinebeck or an Edinburgh or whatever. But my eyes were crossing and I was getting a headache. I was like, oh, and it wasn't even the busiest day. Like, I don't know if I'm made for festivals. I'll get into later, but I found it really overwhelming. So I kind of just kept looping and trying to figure out what I wanted. So I did looked at all different kinds of yarn, and I went to the Uschitita booth, and that's where I got the yarn for this, and I'll put a picture of that skein in. So again, I was looking for a single skein of DK for my friend's gift, and I got that. So that was another single skein. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I've got 3 single skeins. It's like literally what I said I was not gonna do, and I've got 3 single skeins. And in my head, I even went, you told the people you weren't gonna get the single skeins. You told the people. So then I went back to the Stephen and Penelope booth, and talk about like not me. I got this. I don't have anything that's orange. Do I? No, I don't wear orange. I've got very pinky. I mean, I'm having a pinky moment, I think. I'm having a pinky variegated moment. So this is Fru Valborg. I don't remember how to pronounce it. Someone pronounced it for me. So this, I believe, is a Swedish yarn, but it says on it, dyed by hand, especially for Stephen and Penelope, Amsterdam. And so this is 365 meters of 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. Okay, so this could definitely obviously be used for socks. It could be used for a shawl. I'm going to try to squeeze a sweater out of it so that I can feel like I succeeded on some level. Okay, so I've written down a couple of my options, and I'll put them on the screen. 1 second. I've added them to my queue so that I can remember which ones they were. Okay, so a couple of ideas, and again, who knows what I'm actually going to end up doing, but this is sort of my idea. Okay, so I have this one called Jolie by Paula Wisniewska. I have no idea if that's right. Paula Wisniewska. And I'll put pictures on the screen. What I liked about this is that I liked that it had a little bit of lace at the top. You'll notice that's actually a bit of a trend. You seem to be able to do it with the fingering weight. and you seem to be able to do it with this yardage. So it's 800 and the yardage is 850. So even if I had to bring a little something in at the end or make it a little bit shorter, I still think that I could do it. And I think this would make a really cheerful sweater, especially in the winter. And then the other one I was looking at is this one here. It's called Leia by Marzena Kołaczek. Are these all Polish people? Am I having a Polish pink moment? Also some very nice lace at the top. Of course, by doing a little bit of lace at the top, you're minimizing the yardage a little bit. So this also appears to be able to be made within the yardage that I have. And this is very light and pretty and something that I don't already have in my wardrobe. So those are two ideas. We'll see what I actually end up with. Okay, and then lastly, I had to go back to Liz's booth. Here it is. Guys, this is my friend Liz, here from all the way from Greece. And she dyes all these amazing, gorgeous colors. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. Going well? Everything's good?
Yes, very exciting. Barcelona is always a good idea.
So Liz used to be an optometrist. How cool is that? She's an optometrist turned indie yarn dyer. Love it. Love life. Love life. And I got this from her. Again, bright pink. Yeah, I'm having a bright moment. This is very luxurious. This is merino cashmere nylon. And whenever I get a merino cashmere nylon sock yarn, I always end up not making socks because I always feel like I shouldn't waste it on socks. That might continue with this because I might have to make something neck related with this because it's so pretty, right? But TreLiz, and this is the color Lady Marmalade. Did I say the color of this one? No, I don't think I did. The color of this is Sangria, which is the same as my Mohair for my other sweater. Yeah, I'm having a moment. This one doesn't have a color. Okay. And the color, oh shoot, and I didn't do the color of that one either. I'm sure I put it below the last one. Okay, so after I had bought all those things, I was like, okay, well now I'm done. Like I'm not spending any more money. I've bought, how much did I buy? I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skeins of yarn. I'm done. I'm out. I would have got some stitch markers if anything appealed to me, but if they were there, I didn't see them that were kind of my style. So it was at that point, so I arrived at 10. At that point, it was 11:30. I messaged my husband and I was like, I think I'm coming home. I'm tired. It's overwhelming. I don't know anybody here. I just kind of, and to be totally honest, I slept really poorly the night before. So that was a lot of it too. More than it wasn't a criticism of the festival. I just wasn't necessarily in a great headspace. So I messaged Jamaica right before and I said, hey, where are you at? I think I had messaged her about half an hour before and she said, I'm here. Where are you? And I said, okay, well, I'm leaving soon, but I want to give you a hug first. So she came over and May was there and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to stay. And so we walked around a little bit longer and then we went and had coffee and Shamika and I just sat and all the girls sat for a little bit. It was me and Shamika and May sat. And then some of them left. I also met Lisa from India Untangled. That was really nice. I met her a couple times. And then they left, and it was just Shamika and I, and we sat and we knit. So here's a little video of that. Just do our things. What you do at Barcelona Knits. Exactly. You go for coffee and you knit.
You knit.
And you knit a little more.
And you knit a lot more.
And everyone around you is knitting.
So you don't feel bad about it at all.
Yeah, because the people who aren't knitting are the weird ones.
Exactly.
And then after that, I went home. I think I was home by about 3:30, so I lasted about 4 hours total. Great first experience with a festival. I would definitely go next year. I think next year I would do a class. The reason why I didn't do a class is by the time I really felt ready to pull the trigger on classes, the ones that I wanted was gone. And I thought if I'm going to spend 60 euros on a class, which actually is less than the cost of classes at a lot of places, so it was a good value. There just wasn't anything I desperately wanted to do, and I thought I'd rather spend 60 euros on getting some beautiful yarn than on a class that I don't feel passionate about. Okay, I have some more acquisitions. So I have to say that before this, I literally had nothing left. Like I had knit up everything. I had knit up all of my Julie Asselin. I had knit up everything that I had. Like I had nothing left. As you can see over here, these are my like little leftovers. And then this is my knit crate. So my knit crate this month is this gorgeous. This one is called Knitology Glowing Worsted in the color C. And it's 40% merino, 30% silk, and 30% alpaca. Yeah. So this is gorgeous. And actually, Audrey's going to use this because now I have so much. I've let Audrey, and something happened where my address got mixed up because I moved down the street, and I messaged them. I said, oh, no, that's my old address. And they sent it twice. So I got 2 boxes. So there's lots of meterage. So Audrey she is in the middle of crocheting herself a bobble sweater from this. But really soft and squishy. You can kind of see the halo of it from, I guess, from the alpaca and the silk. It's really, really lovely. And as always, I do have a code down below if you want to try this. It is a referral code, $5 if you want to try the Knit Crate. I met Rob of Knit Crate at Barcelona Knits. Really, really lovely guy, super sweet. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a fantastic deal. So if you want to give it a shot, down there. And lastly, so I watch Aimée of the Stranded Dye Works. I'm sure you guys do too. And last year I wanted to buy some of her yarn during her birthday sale. And by the time you added in, it wasn't during the birthday sale, it was, I don't remember what it was, but by the time you added in shipping and duty, it was just, I just couldn't justify it, and in pounds, right? So this year she was doing for her birthday free shipping worldwide. And because I'm in Spain, there wasn't going to be duty, at least until Brexit happens. So that was a good excuse. And again, I wanted to get a sweater quantity, but I didn't want to get fingering because I felt like I already had a lot of fingering, and I had talked about that previously. So I ended up with this. So this is, let's see if I can make it look pretty. There we go. So this is the BFL DK in grubby pink. That goes along with the mohair in the same color. So it's got like little bits of like yellow and brown and like different spots in it as well. Now, obviously 3 skeins of fingering would have been more of a sweater quantity than 2 skeins of DK with a matching mohair. But I've never tried BFL before, and it just felt special, and I liked the way they went together. So what I might end up doing is either figuring out something small that I can do with this, because I think I want to find a way to make this into a sweater. I could make it into, you know, a set of some kind, but with an investment like this, I'd prefer to get a garment. So either I'm going to make a smaller garment like a t-shirt, and I do have some to show you that I'm thinking of, or I'm going to buy a gray worsted, because when you add the DK with this, worsted would go along with it, or a DK with another mohair to add to, like, say, do a two-tone sweater. So doing like cuffs and hems and necklines and whatever. But either way, I'm really pleased with getting this. I think it's beautiful and unique, and I love to support indie dyers. Okay, so what might I do with that? So I have this one called the Vendrare by Yarn Madness, and this one, I loved the V that kind of goes upward. I think it creates a nice waistline. And this one, it needs 520 yards, and here I have 500 yards. So I could probably squeeze it out of this plus a little extra. So I could make that one. And there's also the Ursa, which I'll put pictures of. And the Ursa is by Jacqueline Cieslak. And again, sort of similar but opposite direction of the arrow of the ribbing. And this one also is 450 yards. So again, I could probably squeeze it out, especially if I were willing to do slightly shorter sleeves, or I could augment with another form of yarn. So that's it. I am fully restocked in yarn. That's my entire stash. You just saw it. I'm really just excited to get more stuff on the needles, and I'm also sewing, which is going to come up in the next video. You'll get to see some sewing that I have that I'm getting done. The weather in Barcelona today is a little changeable. Actually, it's been cold, and then it was really, really warm there for a while, and now it's back to being cool again. But either way, it is warmer than Toronto, and I love Toronto, but I do not love winter. I never have. It's just not my bag. So the colder it gets at home, the more I appreciate living in Spain. Okay, very lastly, you'll remember that I said that there was a surprise from Cecilia of Mama Do It Yourself, and Cecilia is offering a free pattern to one of my subscribers. So if you would like to win one of Cecilia's patterns, I'm going to put the link to her website below. Please go over and let me know which of her patterns you would like to win, and I will enter you if you want. Please come back if you enter the draw to see if you won. I'm still chasing down at least 7 people from my 10,000K subscriber giveaway, and I want to be able to give you guys the stuff, so please come back and see if you won. I really appreciate it. Okay guys, that's all for me. I hope you are well. I hope wherever you are, the sun is shining and you are knitting. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.